This is the first of many Brunch and Learns that we plan to have this year. So as first participants, would like to hear your feedback.
Thank you very much for having me. My name is Luca Pawanga. I'm from Zambia. I started off at going to Chifu Secondary School and then going to the University of Zambia and working for the mining industry in Zambia. I worked in Changa for quite a while there. And then I left for the US. And in the US, I ended up working at Colorado School of Mines as one of the instructors there. And then I transitioned to Regis University. And along the way, I worked for smaller companies like my own, which I formed, Mock Management Consulting, and also other companies at the time. So now in terms of networking, you may not identify networking as being important. It's very, very important. So if you look at all these people like CEOs and so on, if you find an ad which says, we are looking for a CEO, don't depend on that ad. Because CEOs are not hired via advertising, they are hired via, most of the times, the word of mouth. Who do you think can do this job? So the saying that it's not what you know, but who you know, it's very much alive. So that's why it's important for you to know how to network. Now the question is, what is a network? Well, a network is really an exchange of ideas amongst different people, different organizations, different entities that works for the benefit of the people who are actually participating. In other words, if you want to develop a network, you have to make it benefit, at least provide some benefit to you. Otherwise, why are you even bothering about developing a network? So the first thing that you have to do then, if you are going to develop a network, is what do you want to get out of it? Identify that actual fact that, okay, I want this to help me with my education, or I want this to help me with my career. I want this to help me with my business. And once you identify that, what are the kinds of help that you need? Once you get to the help that you need, develop that trust, that rapport, that should exist between us so that we have mutual trust. When they go out there and talk about projects and talk about the things that we are able to offer, they know we are going to come through with those things.
I quit my job last year in May, so I've been self-employed for a year and about a month now. Now, I didn't have any investors. My credit wasn't the best, so I had to figure out how to start a business, operate it with literally no money, and started small. And now I'm starting to grow into, I wouldn't say a large company, but I'm getting there. And still not where I want to be in business, but definitely getting there. And one thing I want to tell you guys is, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. If you do not have a plan in place, whether it's writing down what you want to accomplish that day, writing down what you want to accomplish that month, you're not, just thinking about it, it's just going to be in your back of the back of your head, you're just going to forget. So it's like, you want to plan out what you want to do, even if it's like take a jog or read a book or something. Write it down, do it, and check it off. It's done. Once you get through that rhythm, me now throughout the day, I write down probably 50 things and probably get 35 things done a day. And just those little things, those little details, that's what really helps you, elevate your mindset, elevate the way you think. And that pretty much wraps up my thing.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me, Chita, and the ZLA and AZA. So my name is Change Kwesile, and I am in my final year of my doctoral program at the University of Michigan. And I'm studying social work and psychology. I was born in Zambia and raised in the United States. I came as a baby. And I've spent the last decade back and forth between the United States and Zambia. And I will be talking a little bit about my past experience, but generally I focus on social work and psychology. So the title of my presentation is really the title of my dissertation, which is my final project in my PhD program, and it's Shvukeni, or Wake Up. and expanding our mindset around mental wellness and personal success. So I love the topic of well-being, and really what I started with in my education is I started with focusing on HIV and sexual health. But what I realized in working in Zambia is that as much as we can focus on testing and counseling, there are other parts of our well-being that are important. And so in my teaching and in my research, I always begin with my grandparents because they represent so much to me. They represent history, culture, faith, and I remember their stories, which are very much my stories. And I have this proverb that says, if we stand tall, it is because we stand on the shoulders of many ancestors. And so a part of my well-being really stems from them and all that they instilled in me, and the fact that every time I enter the room or enter a room, I'm entering with them. And so I often start this way when I'm talking to, it doesn't matter who I'm talking to, my students, my clients, when I'm talking to professors and other people, I start with them. And so I'm sure people are tired of hearing about Manakulumoava, but to me, they're the beginning and the other people as well. And so this is very important to me. And so the wellness wheel, I feel like, is so important because when we talk about expanding our mindset, we often talk about intellectual things. We talk about, oh, I need to read this, I need to read that. And yes, I think that's very important. And I often talk to students about this, and I talk to clients about this, that I ask people, what are you reading? What are you watching? What are you listening to? At the same time, we need to think about other parts of the wellness wheel, which is, how are your finances? You know, what's your social circle like? And I often tell people that you should have a balance. And actually 2 days ago, one of my clients was like, Changi, you tell me that, you know, I should have a balance, but I don't know how to do that. And so I think that it's kind of like a piggy bank. Every time we can put a little penny in each of them, you know, sometimes it won't be balanced, but as long as we're putting seeds in each of them, I think it's very important to just know that to expand our mindset, we have to be investing in ourselves and others in many other ways.
My name is Henry Musoma, and I am from Chingola, Zambia, Kabwe, Zambia, Lusaka, Zambia, Luanshya, Zambia, and all those cities in Zambia. So today I invite you on a journey in my life. I want you to travail with me, and I want you to visit the spaces of that made me who I am, okay? When you ask me the question, who are you? My simple answer is this: I am a broken vessel. I am a human being that is fast learning how to mend things that are broken, because most things in our lives are broken, Change, and need fixing. In fact, I come to you as a person who spent a couple of weeks in China. I'm a hospital, in case you didn't know. So mental health is something that is important to me. And in fact, at one time, Christopher, I was worried. I thought that I was going to end up on the streets of Lusaka picking out of trash, because there's a stigma with mental health that comes in Zambia. But I thank God that I'm here this morning speaking to you, and I am well. So the question I ask all of you to contemplate is this: who are you? Yona, who are you? For some of you, that seems, Dr. Luca, like a simple question. You might say, I am a father, I am a mother, I am a professor, I am this or that, Peter, I am this. But it's not a simple question, it's one that we all should visit. Peter Senge has a piece that he talks about called the ladder of inference. And the ladder of inference simply says, we all make these assumptions really quickly about ourselves and about others. Some of you are looking at me and saying, but hey, you mona. No. I chose to wear this shirt because it's fly. This is swag from Zambia right here, okay? Yes, baby, swag, hashtag awesome, okay? So who are you? So how do we start to change something that we don't truly know? So if you don't know yourself, number one, how are you gonna change it? And then how are you gonna bring about the change that you expect to see in the world, okay? So you can't offer value when you don't know your own value. I've only met two types of people on this planet. In fact, let me rephrase this, Changi. There's people on this planet that God made, all of us, right? And some of us believe that we're worthless, one word. And I hate to think this, a lot of people in Zambia feel that way. You know, all that kind of nonsense that we've propagated in our culture for so long. Makes sense? So who are you? Do you know your value? Do you know your worth? So there's two types of people that believe that are worthless. And I believe the word worthless should be broken up into two parts, and it should be worth less. There's only people that are worth less by choice. There's no worthless human being. No matter what your station in his life, you're not worthless, one word. But you are worthless, two words, because that's a function of your mindset. Make sense? The worthless, two words, is a function of your mindset. So I'm going to take you to three places: your intellectual, your emotional, and your spiritual. Changi, thank you so much for unpacking this for me as well. Your intellect, your emotions, and your spiritual. Okay, so what is intellect? Your intellect is something that is rational rather than emotional. What is emotional? It's something that has feelings that are easily excited and openly displayed. That's your emotion. What is your spiritual? It has to do with the spirit, not as in ghosts, but as in the essence of being human. In Africa, we call it Ubuntu. I am because you are, and you are because I am. Ladies and gentlemen, President Kaunda said some very powerful words when he was interviewed at Boston University a couple years ago. He said, when it's all said and done, the final export out of Africa will be our humanity, will be our Ubuntu. So for those of you that are out there wondering what I do for a living, I am an exporter of Ubuntu to the United States. In simple words, I am not a professor. I am not anything else, but I am an exporter of Ubuntu, and I'm taken care of in a big, big way. Make sense? So how do we change our mindset? Our mindsets are the things that we have set so much in terms of our intellect. When I first moved to the United States, I remember being told that I was different from the African-American folks, that I was better than them. And I bought that story, that you are different. What I didn't realize is that that wasn't true. It was a game that my colleagues were playing, and a game that divides and conquers. Then when I graduated from college and I started to look for work, I realized that on the street, it didn't matter whether I was from Africa or not. I was just a black man. I was a Negro. That when I went to the bank to get a loan, I'm a black man. So I contended with my identity. It was during the course of my PhD that I started reading books by Mwanakatwe and all these Zambian intellects that Dr. Pawonga, I started to say to myself, oh my goodness, then I started reading some of the articles my father wrote, and I was thinking, man, my father started school when he was 10, and the man's vocabulary is out of this world. See what I'm saying? Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our own minds. Have no fear for atomic energy. So this is what I bring to you today. You are locked up in your own mind. And Steve Biko said this, the most powerful weapon in the hand of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. Steve Biko, South Africa. The most powerful weapon in the hand of the oppressor, Peter Chilashe, is the mind of the oppressed. So let me tell you a quick story about me quickly, and then I'll finish. Is that okay? So came to America, got my bachelor's degree, couldn't find work, waited tables for 3 years. It sucked. Tray in my hand, 3 years, got my bachelor's degree, came to America to get the chunk of the American dream, ended up with a small piece of the American dream. Then got my master's degree, still couldn't find work, got married, started having kids, still broke, poor, disgusted, and just almost sending my diploma back to the university. My mindset wasn't open. I hadn't learned how to sell myself, Yona. I hadn't learned how to brand myself. We all are a brand, but you can't offer a value if you don't know your value. That makes sense? So Peter Senge says 3 things. We need to learn how to reflect. We need to learn how to be an advocate for ourselves. Makes sense? So I've learned how to be an advocate for myself. So I'm gonna fast forward you to last year. I get invited to speak in Mexico, Changi. And I'm speaking at this university in Mexico, right? And Ms. Frida, thank you so much for putting this together. You're awesome. You're awesome. You're awesome. You can count the number of seeds in an orange, Ms. Frida, but you can never count the number of oranges in a seed. This is what this is about, Ms. Frida. You can count the number of seeds in an orange, but you can never, ever, ever count the number of oranges in a seed. So I'm in Mexico. They invite me to Mexico. Rodney Siwale, my brother, you see, wave your hand. I want to see you. Wave your hand, Rodney. So they invite me to Mexico, right? Bella, there you go. And I'm speaking in Mexico. And they never told me that the conference was about mental health, Ms. Frida. They didn't even know that I had experience with mental health. And I give a speech that I end up getting a 10, 15-minute standing ovation because I spoke from my heart. Ladies and gentlemen, the most powerful place to lead from is this place called the heart. The word courage comes from the word cur, which means heart in the Latin. We need to find our space in the heart. Most of us are leading from here. You can't lead from here. Yes, you start here, but it's got to travel here. The most effective leaders on the planet are people that move us, that they move us. They move us. And the question I have for all of us is, when you find out who you are, then you're able to move people, because you'll be able to live and speak from your heart and also from your head. This is why your classes, if you're a professor, are not popular, because all you know is how to speak from your head. You've never taken the journey to your heart. The journey between this and that is a long journey, but you've got to take it. 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 It sucks, but you've got to take it.
That I just kind of want to summarize what I've heard and what I've learned from each of our speakers today. One quick takeaway is from Mr. Musoma is like my soundtrack for the rest of the day is going to be Bob Marley now. But what I did hear is that you need to learn who you are in order for you to improve it, to change it. And that needs to come, we need courage in order to do that. And that needs to come from the heart and not just from the mind. And then I really like what you said about being an ambassador or an exporter of Ubuntu. We all could use more of that, especially in current times politically and socially, and the pandemic. I think it's really important to practice Ubuntu in our current times. And then from Change, I learned that we do need to speak life and to keep an open mind, to speak life into our own lives and to keep an open mind to different opportunities. We might be looking for the blue in the room, but our true opportunities are in the yellows and pinks that exist. So keep an open mind and soak it all in, and also the importance of our teammates, right? Because they help us recognize those blues and yellows and those people around you who volunteer you for opportunities. Like we did these speakers, they elevate you and present new opportunities. And then from Yona, so many rich lessons there. I learned about the importance of failing and how that helped propel you and helped you gain this learning mindset, even though it wasn't a traditional learning path. You're constantly learning and through your mentors and teaching yourself things as a business owner. I think a lot of people may assume that business means that you have an easy life and you just use your talents, but it was really good to hear that you're constantly improving yourself, and also the importance of writing down our goals and planning and having a plan. I think you said the failure to plan is planning to fail. So that was really important. I'm starting to practice that habit of writing everything down because my days get away from me sometimes. And I think that's the only way we can make meaningful progress towards our goals. So that was really good to hear from you, Yona. And then from Dr. Luca, I learned about his work in helping Africa build sustainable infrastructure for what we're doing, which I think is so important. I think we come here and we see things that are sustainable, and it seems kind of easy to do, but the importance of taking what we're learning in diaspora and taking it back home and helping our people build that was really cool to hear about what Dr. Pwanga is doing around that. And then the two-sidedness of relationships and your network. So when you're in a room, hitting those targets, but also listening to what their needs may be and how you can be the facilitator of connections with your networks and how to keep them alive and meaningful. So thank you all so much for all of those insights. I think I learned a lot and there's a lot to digest. So I really appreciate it.